everyone's least favorite workout or exercise in the world, and that is the bear crawl. So the bear crawl is great because it is working the whole body. It lights up the core, it lights up the shoulder stabilizers, hips, quads, shoot, even your ankles. And it also gets your heart rate up because you're like moving and doing it quickly. So the bear crawl, you start in a bear position, which is hands and knees, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, and I say it like that because you don't want to be like this where I've seen how my hips are too far forward, not over my knees. We want to stack our joints, tuck the toes, lift the knees. When I do that, I don't know if you can see my core, but my back stays flat and my hips stay level. So I don't arch and I don't like round, but rather tighten the core, tuck the toes, stay in neutral. And then from here, to turn the bear position into a bear crawl, you will crawl. So I'm going opposite arm, opposite leg, forward, and then backwards. Same pattern. All the while maintaining that tension in my core, in my legs, in my shoulders, so that my crawl doesn't end up looking like something like that, or like even like lumbery, where my hips are shifting side to side. It's about stability, tension. As you're doing a lot of these, you will see how they start to fatigue. One thing I kind of like to think about as I'm doing them is, so I'm doing opposite arm, opposite leg, right? I almost like to think about pulling my knee up towards that opposite wrist as I come into the next step. And in doing that, thinking about that pull between here to here, you really feel how it contracts the core and uses the hip flexor to pull and drive forward and not just like fall into each step. Yeah, so there's that. And then as you're tightening the core here, I also want you to think about that lift through the pelvic floor. So as I'm tightening my core in this position, I'm not tightening in a way that I'm like pushing outwards through the pelvic floor, but rather think about lifting up and in to be more supportive to the pelvic floor and the deep inner cores, and you'll feel that sensation like down here in your lower belly. That's a hard thing to describe, so let me know if that makes sense. But yeah, that's the bear crawl.